remember when I was in college, I studied computer science, and there was a building, the science center, where in the basement they had the computer labs. And I remember coming up out of the lab one morning after writing code all night and ordering pizza and
Yeah.
doing what we used to do in college, coming up out into the light and like walking out the doors, and there was a breezeway, and in the breezeway there were these cork boards, and on the cork boards there were always students posting stuff, and there was one thing, there was a purple piece of paper, and it was one of the whole deals with like the little advertisement and then the tags along the bottom, and you could take off and call somebody to participate or whatever. And this was for the Young Entrepreneurs Club. And I remember looking at that and I thought to myself, I never want to own a business. That sounds like an absolute headache to me. And I think it's because my parents, my dad was Air Force, but he when I was in high school, he opened his own private practice. He was a podiatrist. And I saw he and my mom working so much, just trying to get this practice off the ground and doing the books and keeping track of all these patient records and just so many things, it's all the stuff around the business itself, and I remember thinking, I don't want to do all that, and so I got into the world after I graduated I was a computer scientist, I wrote code for big companies for a long time. And then I remember at one point sleeping in my office and being like, this is ridiculous. Why am I, I am like sacrificing my life for this company, and all I get is a paycheck. I don't get any, long-term ownership in the business. And I think that sort of idea of like building equity in a thing, and also just the idea that I wanted sort of maybe a bit of a myth of like flexibility, that comes with running your own business. So those were the things I think that pushed me to it. And I don't know if that answers.
Super interesting. No, that's awesome, man. I mean, that's so interesting. And what I hear you saying is like, man, I was building somebody else's dream, right? Like, somebody else's vision, somebody else's dream, somebody else's business is what I was building. And I'm sleeping in the office and I'm hanging out and I'm just like, I'm done with this. This isn't what I signed on for. This isn't like, if I'm going to do this, then, maybe everything I watched my parents go through, the paperwork, the administration, the hiring, the firing, the filing, all of those things is potentially worth it. And, let's get off the couch and, let's get to work and build our own shop. And I think that's what you did.